would you still take a chance on Antonio Brown?
Yes, I would, because it's low risk, high reward. The fact of the matter is that this guy is a superstar talent. A minimum of 101 receptions for a minimum of 1,284 yards over 6 consecutive years. He had an 1,800-yard season one year, a 1,600-yard season, a 1,500-yard season, a 1,400-yard season. This brother's elite. He's one of the great wide receivers in the history of the National Football League. And if you are a contender and you need a receiver, this brother can go and do some special things for you on that football field. Now, you got to load your cabinet with some Advil, Tylenol, or anything that specializes in migraine headaches, because he's going to give that for you, because he gives new meaning to prima donna. We all recognize that. And obviously, he's had a very troubled past. There's no question. But the fact that the NFL has come down with that definitive 8-game schedule, obviously, you know, they reserve the right to, Lord knows with them, to do even more. But chances are, since they said it's an 8-game suspension, whoever picks him up, he'll be available for the 9th game of that season in all likelihood. And I think if you're a team like the Baltimore Ravens, I think you want to take a chance on him. If he was contrite and apologetic enough, I think you take a chance on him with the Pittsburgh Steelers potentially as well. They're not going.
Yeah, this one, I struggle with this one. Yeah, Stephen, I struggle with this one. Look, his on the field. What more is there to say? He's a lock to be in Canton. They'll be making a bust of him. He'll be up there with the greats, because he's one of the greats, and he's one of the great success stories in the NFL as far as being a self-made guy, someone who earned his way, someone who in Pittsburgh, the coaches there told me, unquestionably the hardest worker. He puts in the time. He's dedicated to his craft, and it shows on the field. You can't stop him. You can't cover him. He's that good. The question becomes, look, in this environment in particular, trust is really going to be what it's all about in 2020. It's that way every year in the NFL when it comes to really separating the average from the good and the good from the great teams. It usually comes down to trust, obviously, and availability, and they kind of go hand in hand. And that's what it comes down to with Antonio. It's not really even about the money. We all know that the money is going to be minimal to nothing in terms of guaranteed money. It's all going to be highly incentivized. It's going to be, as Andrew Brandt likes to say, pay as you go. That's how he's going to be compensated this year. But it's about trust. It's about, is he going to be there? Okay, let's just say that there wasn't an issue of COVID. If that wasn't an issue in 2020, it's still going to be about, is he going to do the right things and be available for my football team? Because when he does, he makes us a contender, or he makes us demonstrably better. When he's not, it not only affects the wide receiver room and affects the offense, it can affect the team overall. It just has a negative pull on the team. And this is not me saying that Antonio doesn't deserve another chance. I guess the best way for me to answer this would be this. Depending upon where my team was in my program build-out, that would factor heavily into whether or not he would be someone that I'd want to bring on to my football team. And on top of it, I think it's going to be out of the GM's hands in many cases anyway. This is going to be an ownership-driven decision as far as where he goes next and whether or not they're willing to assume the risk. But on the football field, I mean, come on. I mean, we could sit here and we could talk ad nauseum about his talents on the field. He's that good, and it's not hyperbole. He's that good. He's that guy that you can't stop, and he proved that everywhere he's been, whether it be in Pittsburgh, the short time he was on the practice field in Oakland, and the time that he played down in Miami when he was with the New England Patriots. He's that good. It's just, can you trust him? And as his former coach Mike Tomlin said,
well, you can't
one fail, we all fail. Obviously, he's talking about one failed test can compromise our whole football team. But it's that kind of environment. Those are the characteristics. Those are the rules that we're playing by this year more so than any other year.
Well, let me be very clear. You can't trust them. You can't trust them. Somebody that is that temperamental, somebody that has seen on social media doing some of the things that he's done, even with law enforcement officials, somebody, you know, when he was videoing him and all of that other stuff, somebody that approached Mike Mayock the way that he did and spoke to him the way that he did, somebody who was as truculent as they come when it came with Mayock, when it came with Big Ben Roethlisberger and others, knowing that Mike Tomlin's your coach. Of course you can't trust him. But often I've asked this question, although facetiously, Louis, I've asked this question. Damn it, if you a coach, what's your job? Work around it. You ain't playing. Do something. It ain't your job just to call your plays. It's your job to run your team and to run your program. And everybody on it is not going to be a quiet boy. This is an elite talent who's obviously has had his struggles, and he's on the tail end. It's low risk. He is in no position to walk to anybody and make any kind of demands at all. And so if you are an NFL team, that bodes well for you, particularly a team like the Ravens with a young, strong-headed dude like Lamar Jackson, who's absolutely electrifying. And even though he's got some decent talent with him, could you imagine if you were compromising a secondary because you're worried about having to spy on Lamar Jackson, and then on top of that you add Antonio Brown to that lineup, to that wide receiving corps? My God, it could win you a Super Bowl. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.